been more than 2 weeks at this point since I haven't filmed anything really, and it's just like so weird to get back into the groove and just like talk to a camera without addressing anyone in particular. But yeah, I'm slowly getting there. So what we're gonna do, or at least what I plan to do today. So the book that I plan to read is none other than A Sorceress Comes to Call by Kingfisher. I feel like I'm in a bit of a, I don't want to say reading slump, but I looked at my TBR card to see what books I want to read, and there was nothing really that spoke to me other than the Kingfisher. Also, I searched my library on the Kindle, and again, like, even though I would want to continue the Veronica Speedwell series because I started reading the first book, I think a week ago or something, and I really enjoyed that. I just don't know if I want to read them that close together, if that makes sense. So, yeah, this seemed the only viable option for right now. I also really want to go to the bookstore today to see if they either have Pride and Prejudice, Jane Eyre, or Wuthering Heights in the editions that I want, because I never read any of those books, and even though I kind of know what they're about, I never actually experienced like the act of reading them. So I really do want to read them at some point this autumn. Also, for today, I wanted to continue crocheting for my first ever crochet project. I am very excited about that. So in the last couple of weeks, I've watched so many crocheting tutorials. It's just like crazy. And I watched those because I didn't really know if I can do it, like if I'm physically able to do it, because it just seemed so complicated in the beginning. But after watching these tutorials, it just kind of started to make sense in my brain. So I finally decided to bite the bullet and buy some crochet hooks and yarn and stuff like that. And I finally started doing my first granny squares for the blanket that I want to make. So far, I only managed to do four. It's probably going to take me months, if not years, to make enough granny squares for a blanket. But honestly, I've just been enjoying the process so much. And at the moment, I still am not sure if I want to continue with this orange color for all the granny squares, or if I want to have other colors as well. The first ever granny square that I crocheted is this green one, and even though I really like this pattern, I think the background is a little bit too airy and with a lot of holes in it. So I don't know how well that would work for a blanket. So I decided to go with this tighter, more solid pattern, and I honestly like it a lot. So I think green and orange would look really good together in the blanket. I also have this like brownish yarn, but I'm not exactly sure as of right now. So I have to figure that out. And then once I have figured that out, I also have to finish this ball of yarn from this color so that I know approximately how many granny squares can I make out of one yarn so I can buy more. I'm still slowly figuring things out when it comes to crocheting, but honestly, I'm just like so excited. We'll see if I can finish it this year, but probably not. I also just now realized that the pattern on the book, like these little leaves right here, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but they are almost like embroidered or like knitted, like I don't know, but they are something that's stitched together. And we also have like some yarn here and some embroidery needles, I believe. So it all is starting to make sense, like this book and crocheting. And yeah, let's begin. let's do a bit of a reading update for A Sorceress Comes to Cole. But before that, let me actually show you what I got at the bookstore today. So as I was mentioning in the intro of this video, I really wanted to get one of these classics, either Jane Eyre or Wuthering Heights or Pride and Prejudice. And I found Jane Eyre in this specific edition from Wordsworth, and I just love it so much. I think the design is just gorgeous. It has the same thing on the back as well. On the back it says, "I am no bird and no net ensnares me. I am a free human being." And then right when I entered the bookstore, I saw this specific edition of Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu, and I knew I had to buy it because I've been wanting this specific edition with this specific cover for such a long time, and it was never in stock. On the back of this one, there's an ant on my book. Okay. On the back of this, it says that this predates Dracula by 26 years. And I don't know why, but I kind of had the impression that Carmilla is inspired from Bram Stoker's Dracula, but it is not. So this is actually written before Dracula. So that's really interesting, and I'm looking forward to reading this one. Now, let's actually talk about the book that I'm actively reading in this video, and that is A Sorceress Comes to Cole. So when I started this reading vlog, I think I was like 60 or 70-ish pages into the book, and right now I am on page 211. It's chapter 21. So I'm past the halfway point. I only have this much left. First of all, before I tell you what this book is actually about, what I really noticed with this book is that the writing style feels like a bit different from her other works, and I think it is because this is set in its own universe, kind of. Previously, I read from the Kingfisher the Paladin's, the series that starts with Paladin's Grace and it continues with Paladin's Strength, Hope, and Faith. I think it's called the Saint of Steel, and also with Sword Heart, because they're kind of in the same overarching universe. Like, those books are written in a very similar way when it comes to their humor and what they focus on and stuff like that. And then with the Sworn Soldier series that starts with What Moves the Dead and continues with What Feasts at Night, those books are centered more towards the element of gothic horror, but obviously them being reimagined. This one feels very fairy tale-esque, and it makes sense because this is a reimagining of Grimm Brothers' The Goose Girl. And if you ever read any fairy tales by the Grimm Brothers, they have that very dark and grim, I guess, type of writing their fairy tales. So this feels exactly like those types of stories in its format, in its setting, and sort of how the action or like the plot is shaped. But it's not predictable. It is not a copy paste. It is just specific elements from those fairy tales put together in this one, but with new characters and like new story arcs, if you will. And I really appreciate that about the Kingfisher in general. Like, she's very good at taking an idea and making it her own. When it comes to the plot and structure of this story, we are following two characters' points of view. We are following on one hand Cordelia, who is a 14 years old girl, and her mother is a sorceress. Her mother does some pretty terrible things to Cordelia because her mom can basically make other people obedient to her will, and she's been controlling Cordelia all of her life. And the way that Cordelia describes this just feeling of being controlled by her mother is just like frightening and horrible and terrifying. Like, I had chills when I read how she feels. It's basically kind of like a separation between mind and body. Like, her mind and her thoughts are still kind of her own, but her body is behaving in like a completely different way because it is controlled by her mom. Her mom also has the power to kind of shift some of Cordelia's memories for her to remember certain things in like a specific type of way. And the things that this girl went through all of her life are just like so crazy. Every single chapter, you just feel like your heart is ripped out of your chest because of these just like horrible things that are happening to Cordelia and to other characters as well. For example, in the first couple of chapters, we see Cordelia very attached to her mom's horse. His name is Falada. And one day, Cordelia sees an opportunity to basically escape with Falada. So she's trying to escape. She's trying to go as further as possible from her mom, and all of a sudden the horse just stops. In that moment, it is revealed to us, but also to Cordelia, that Falada is her mom's familiar. So that means that this spirit, this horse, this whatever he is basically in the service of Cordelia's mom. And now she's heartbroken. She thinks she doesn't have any escape, and everything just looks very grim for her, no pun intended. After the events of the first couple of chapters, we learn that Cordelia's mom's benefactor is not actually wanting to help her financially anymore. So her mom takes the matters into her own hands, and she is seducing a rich man with the intention of marrying him. So they have to move in this new house so that her mom can like charm this new guy. There's like a whole explanation as to why her mom can't really use magic to seduce this new victim, because if they would marry, then in that instance, pretty much all of her charms or all of her spells would be broken by the marriage, because you're like marrying in a church and sacred ground, and it's a whole thing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But her mom can't really use magic to seduce this guy, so she has to really, really try to be cordial and respectful while they are in this house. In this house, we also have Hester, who is our second point of view. So we get kind of like one chapter from Cordelia and one chapter from Hester's point of view. Hester is the sister of the squire. I don't know if I mentioned this previously, but the squire is the guy that Cordelia's mom is trying to seduce. So Hester sees that something is very wrong with her brother, and she's trying to see exactly what Cordelia's mom is doing to make her brother behave in the way that he is behaving. And in trying to see what's happening, she befriends Cordelia, and they form this like very wholesome friendship. Someone died, actually multiple people died in this book, but someone in particular that's kind of relevant for the story recently died. And Hester is trying to prove that Cordelia's mom was the one who murdered this person. I am very invested into the story. I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen in the end and how they're going to defeat the sorceress. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finish this. I think I can finish it today. Like I have almost 180-ish pages left. We'll see if I can manage to finish this one today, or if not, tomorrow. That's fine as well. But yeah, this was my update as of right now for A Sorceress Comes to Cole. I really, really enjoy it so far. I like the tone and overall feeling of dread that we are experiencing alongside these characters. I will go crochet for a bit, then I will continue reading this book, and I will update you when I finish it. So see you in a bit. Hi, hello, this is the next day. If it looks like I'm wearing the same things as yesterday, no, I'm not. It's fine. Like, don't worry about it. Okay, so in the meantime, I did manage to crochet 3 more granny squares, and right now I am quite literally in the middle of the fourth one. I just did the center of it, and now I have to do the like background part. But I did want to update the vlog because I did finish A Sorceress Comes to Call earlier today. And I do have some thoughts. Like, overall, I am happy with this book, but some things they didn't really tie up all that well, in my opinion. And there's just like this one thing that was mentioned earlier in the book that was alluding to the fact that Cordelia might have powers of her own. And that didn't really come to play in the end, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of conflicted about it. Like, on one hand, I am overall like pleased with how this book turned out to be in the end, but in the same time I just like wished we explored Cordelia's life after the events from the ending of this book a bit more. I would be interested to read like a sequel to this and just like following Cordelia in her new life as she has overcome the obstacles from her childhood and teenagehood, and her very like troubled past with her mother and stuff like that. Like, I would be very interested in that book. This one, like, it was good, but I don't think it was to the caliber that I was expecting it to be. That's not to say that this is a bad book, because it's not. It was fine. It was just I wanted like a teeny tiny bit more in the end. That's all. And with that, thank you all so much for watching, for spending the weekend with me. Like, subscribe, do all of the things if you want to do that and support me. If not, then that's totally fine as well. And I guess I'll see you in the next video soon here on the channel. Bye everyone.